Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. And the name of the song is Keep It Wavy by Punch Deck. Okay, so what I want to do with this video is I wanted to clarify something that I've mentioned a few times in my videos, and to help you understand why it works so well and why it's such a powerful tool even though it's so simple. So there's a mantra that I developed years ago, and it was out of frustration of dealing with narcissists. Now at the time I didn't know they were narcissists, okay? I didn't really understand what it was and why it was with certain people. I would just get this headache, or my forehead would tighten up, and it's like I couldn't think and I was very narrow. And usually when I left him, I'd kind of be stuck in this forehead thing, sometimes for a day or 2 days or more. It's like, I can't do that. I've got to be open when I work with my clients. Okay, the music is going to go down right now, and it'll go down a little bit more in about another minute. So one thing you're going to learn from me, and I think some of you have noticed it, some of the tools that I give you to help you to open up, to ground yourself emotionally, to think clearer, or just to develop better strategies, some of them are extremely ridiculously simple. Yet they get you very, very powerful results if you actually apply them. So there's essentially an overall pattern here that I'm working with, okay? Just one pattern. It's internal and external energy. It's left brain, which is external, and the right brain, which is internal, okay? That's the internal and external function, process, energy, movement. And this is absolutely the same as the yin and yang symbol, that little thing that goes around and around. Well, it actually goes left, right, left, right, left, right. So you breathe in, you breathe out, you breathe in, you breathe out, left, right, left, right, left, right. So the number one thing, the number one pattern I'm working with people is really getting them to be able to be left and right, left and right. It's like pedaling a bicycle. You can't just push once and then not push the other one. You have to go left, right, left, right, left, right. That's what creates flow, and that's what creates movement. So everything on this dimension, the third dimension, it's not even just on this third dimension. Like, well, how do you open up to the higher level? Well, you have to flow this energy, and all it simply means is, God, it's so simple. It's so simple. It's hard. It's almost hard to explain because it's so simple. You're like, well, it can't just be that. Yeah, it is just that. It really is that simple. Everything in life applies to this pattern. Period. End of sentence. And once you learn how to utilize it, this opens you up to higher spiritual dimensions. You breathe in, you breathe out. You receive thoughts from your teacher, and then you speak them out. Everything comes in, and everything, even a conversation, you receive someone's communication, and then you give communication. So receiving is internal, giving is external. Your lungs bring oxygen in, and then they push oxygen out. Your heart pushes blood into the heart, and then it pushes blood out. It brings it in, it pushes it out. It brings it in, it pushes it out. Same thing with water. It rains, falls on the land, it goes into the stream and rivers, and then it goes back out into the ocean. And then over a period of time, there's condensation. The moisture rises up in the air. It creates clouds. I mean, this cycle just continues in everything, your car engine, your computer, your phone, every single thing on the planet, every animal, every molecule, everything. So the pattern that I'm not just essentially doing, the pattern that I am doing is I'm just opening the door between the left and the right, between the internal and the external. See, the yin and yang symbol, here, let me actually get a picture of it so you know what I'm talking about. So remember, it's about breathing in and breathing out, okay? Food goes in, food goes out. So a lot of people look at this symbol and they're like, oh, it spins in one direction. No, it doesn't. It goes left, right, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that's like breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. That's the natural way. When it's spinning in one direction, that's unnatural, that's mechanical. So the more you understand the symbol, the more life starts to open up to you. So like when I work with my clients, all I'm doing is this right here. Like this is it, internal, external. All I'm doing is going, okay, where's their blockage? Okay, so let's talk about blockage. So cancer is a result of what? Is a result of this only spinning in one direction. There's a blockage. You're not receiving. You need to receive healthy nutrients into the body. You need to receive fresh oxygen into the body. So you can't be just external. External people over time become very, very unhealthy. Their bodies tend to not be very healthy people. So when I work with someone who has some kind of lack of health or dis-ease, all I'm going to do with them is find, okay, where's the blockage? And then I'm just going to unblock it. We're going to get the energy to flow back through that. That's why these breathing techniques that I teach you guys are so important. They open you up. They access a higher level of intelligence, literally in your own brain, inside your skull. I'm not talking about some amazing spiritual thing. I'm talking physical, literal. Oxygen gets into your bloodstream. Oxygen is your muscle and your brain's #1 fuel source. If you are starving your brain of the #1 fuel source, guess what? It's not going to function very well. This is why some people are more intelligent and some people aren't. Some people breathe and some people don't. I mean, if you think of your what was I going to say? Like the majority or average narcissist, they don't breathe. They're very uptight people, which means their muscles are tight. The artery in the lower reptilian brain is tight. Everything is like there's no flow. The blood can't flow because the artery's narrowed. You don't have enough oxygen in the bloodstream. I mean, on and on. So you're not going to function as well. So I began to learn this stuff from actually applying these techniques that I'd learned over years and years from one training to another to another. Now, being an athlete, being someone who wanted to win really, really, really badly and get good grades in schools, I really developed the this level of, what do you call it? It's you practice. I mean, you do it again and again and again until you master it. Keyword master. So I'll get some clients like, oh, I did it like 3 times. Like 3 times? No, 3,000 times. Man, you should do it at least 100, 300 times in one day alone. I mean, 3 times. So what are you talking? And right there, that's the difference between the people who do and the people who, oh, I did it like 6 or 7 times. I remember when you probably came from martial arts when I was a little kid, I was like 4 years old. They had taught us to the forward rolls, right? The right side, the left side. And he goes, okay, I want you guys to practice this over the weekend. And it was for a week. He goes, I want you to practice it every day, 100 times right roll, 100 times left roll, left front roll. So the first 2 days I did it 100 times each time. Then the third day I did it 50 times. And then the next day I didn't do it at all. And the next day I did it like, I don't know, 5 times each. And then the Friday I didn't do it at all. And then I didn't do it on the weekend. And then I went to class. He goes, okay, show me your front rolls. And I was like, okay, I did one, did the other. And I was all happy and proud. He goes, no. He goes, I'm not going to teach you anything else until you master that. And I'm like, what do you mean? I practiced it all? He goes, no, you didn't. You're lying. And you know what? He was right. I did lie. I didn't practice it every day, and I didn't do it 100 times. And he said that. He goes, you didn't do this 100 times for the last 7 days, each side. He goes, you're lying. And he said, you want to know how I know? Because you're not doing it right. You didn't get good at it. You didn't develop this and practice this to where you got good at it. He goes, I can tell. He goes, you didn't practice this. He goes, if you practice this 100 times every single day, he goes, I'll know. He goes, I'm telling you. I want you to go home right now. And it goes, I'm going to go tell your dad to take you home and make you do it 100 times today. And then on your own, every day you got to do it on your own. He goes, I'll know. When you come back next week, I'll know if you did it. He goes, and if you didn't, he goes, I'm not going to teach you another technique. That you're not going to learn the next one until you do this. So I did it every day, 100 times each, 7 days. And my brother Gary didn't. He started, he said, I'll do it tomorrow. Like he had that attitude. So when we went to test the next week, I did it perfect, both sides. And the teacher goes, yes. He goes, you did it 100 times every day, didn't you? I was like, yes, I did. My brother went to do it, and he was sloppy. He flopped on the ground. He kind of halfway did it on the other side. And the teacher goes, nope, I'm not going to teach you anything. You're going to go over there on your own, Gary, and you're going to do it 100 times each side. That's what you're going to do for this hour. He goes, Michael's going to learn the next technique. Because I developed that mentality, that attitude, and that repetition is the mother of skill, I developed it at a very, very young age. So everything I did, from English class to art class to everything I did, I practiced and I practiced and I practiced and I practiced. See, the only limit is the limit that you stop at. If you keep going, you keep focusing, you keep developing, you're just going to continue to get better and better and better and better and better and better. I mean, it's simple. This is life. So when I went to Tony Robbins seminars, there was something that blew my mind, and I didn't understand it. I didn't wait, why is it what is happening here? I couldn't figure out why, when you'd go to a Tony Robbins seminar, you would come home, and for the next month and a half, 2 months, maybe even 3 months, you were just like, I remember I would read book after book after book. I would do my homework for college. I would do all this stuff. I'd study my NLP tapes, and I'm learning all this stuff, and I'm getting straight A's in school. I mean, you're just doing what Tony calls massive action. And I go, and then when I started to come out of it, I was like, well, why am I struggling now? Like, what's the difference? Okay. Now, I had another experience that really opened my eyes. So we're at Tony Robbins seminar. It was the first day. It was here in San Francisco, really close to SFO, San Francisco airport, literally like a half a mile down at this major not airport, but major hotel. And it was break time. It was time to go get food. I think it was 4 p.m. or something like that, and we maybe 4 or 5. And there was a restaurant right across the street. So about 20 of us said, hey, let's go over there. Well, it was a packed house. And the vibe was kind of mellow, not really upbeat or nothing. We walked in there, and we were quiet. We weren't talking. We weren't clapping our hands, going, Tony Robbins. Like, we weren't doing that. We're just like, hey, we just want to get a break. We want to get some food. And we walked in there, and our energy alone. Now, we weren't fidgeting. We weren't jumping up and down. We were just standing. We were just waiting patiently. But the energy in the entire restaurant shifted. I also noticed, it was like we were lit, like the light was on, and you look around, people were just kind of negative and kind of looking down at the ground, kind of blah, 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 blah. And everyone was kind of moving slow and sluggish, and I'm like, what is this? And then as we began to move into the restaurant and be sat down, the energy began to shift, and people started to talk faster, people started to become upbeat, people started to laugh, like the whole energy shifted. So I had this real strong contrast. It went from this absolute positive. See, when you're in the seminar, though, you don't really notice anything because you slowly get into this very positive vibe, this energy shift. And when you're surrounded by all these people, I don't know, I think it was like 2,000 people. You're in the same room, the big room, building, or whatever. You don't really think about it until you go have contrast. When you go outside of that room, you're like, whoa, what is this like? And you start to realize, oh, I see why people are so negative, because they're not doing anything to shift into a much more positive state, because they don't know. They literally don't know that there are little things that you can do, from looking up, putting your head up, looking up at the eyes, saying the word yes, 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 yes over and over and over, clapping your hands, standing tall, breathing deep. Like, there's a bunch of simple things. It's not like, oh, hey, you got to go dig ditches for 8 hours in 100-degree sun. No, it's not backbreaking. This is easy, simple stuff. And when I get clients like, oh, I can't do that, I'm like, hey, man, you don't qualify for my course. Hey, shake your hand. See you down the road. Good luck, buddy. If you can't breathe, if you can't look up, if you can't tilt your head, you do not qualify for my course. So when I get people saying, oh, I tried, it didn't work. Yep, sorry, man, you don't qualify, because this is easy stuff, and I mean easy peasy. And the interesting thing is how powerful of a shift it has on your life, your entire life. So here's another interesting thing. So on the second seminar, I remember I stayed at my dad's, so I didn't have to drive all the way back up to Vacaville, which is about an hour and a half. My dad was about 15, 20 minutes south of the SFO airport in Mountain View. And I remember I was staying there. I remember when I came home, and everyone looked at me, and they were like horrified, and they were leaning away, their mouth agape, and and I'm like, what's wrong with you guys? You okay? Like, Michael, what's wrong? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm in a good mood. Everything's great. But I could see the darkness. Their energy was just down. And I don't mean like they're bad people, nothing like that. But they're operating off such a low level. See, here's the deal. When you begin to access more of your intelligence and your power, it intimidates animals. It intimidates other people that are not at that level because they're operating off of the lower reptilian brain. And to them, like, whoa, you're like this powerhouse energy walking in. And they're like, whoa, it's kind of, and you're like, but here's the thing, though. You're not pinging off the walls. It's not a caffeine high. It's nothing like that at all. In fact, you're very grounded. You're very calm. You have absolute clarity, which most people don't have. You have an access to a much higher level of intelligence within your system, which, again, most people don't have because they're not doing these unbelievably simple techniques. See, you can only have these experiences if you develop it. So when I didn't do the 100 rolls every day, and I think it was 3 days I didn't do it at all, and then 2 of the days I did it like 15 times each or whatever it was, I didn't really know how to do it, and therefore I didn't really get it. Like, why is this? This is stupid. I'm flopping around, and that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, yeah, this martial arts stuff, this is kind of stupid. It doesn't work. If it wasn't for him looking me right in the eye and saying, look, I'm serious. If you don't do this, you're not going to learn the next technique. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, he kind of grabbed me by the hair. And it was like, it really kind of caught my attention. Like, okay, I'll do it. And bam. And I walked in and bam, bam. I did the rolls. It was perfect. And all of a sudden I started to understand the value of it. And so until you cross that line, you're never going to understand the value of it. And yet the people who do not practice it and practice, repetition is the mother of skill and roll forward 100 times right, left, and do the techniques over and over and over and over. They look at you and like, oh, well, you're just lucky. Oh, really? So practicing my ass off every single day for months and months and years and decades, that's pure luck. There's no effort. And that's your typical narcissist. They just don't want to do the practice. They don't want to push themselves. They don't want to do things to... See, okay, here's the deal. The mantra that I'm going to bring up, it's not hard. It's so easy. It is not a hard thing at all. It is freaking easy peasy. So I woke up the next morning at my dad's house. And they were looking at me, and here I am. I jumped in the shower, I got something to eat, I'm getting everything packaged, and they're looking at me like, Michael, why don't you slow down? I'm like, I'm not going fast, Dad. And they're just kind of looking at me like any way to kind of, and what they were trying to do is bring me down to their level. They're like, hey, something's not right here. Are you sure this Tony Robbins is a good guy? And like, let's see, I'm happy, I'm upbeat, I'm looking forward to life. Every time I leave a seminar, I get straight A's in college, and I'm proactive. I'm doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'm getting all this stuff done. Yeah, this is a really bad thing. So what I'm trying to say is you can absolutely change your life. It's no question about it. You can shift, and continue to shift as far as you want to go. So let's get to the mantra, which I've brought up a couple times over the last probably month or two. So the mantra is and both, plus and more, yes, yes, yes. So it's two ands, and both. So it's 1 plus 1. So 1 and 1 equals 2, equals more. And that's what we're doing. We're shifting your mind from the limited left brain to the open more brain where you get more out of life. And what ends up happening is like, oh, wow. So the reason why that guy's rich is because he's using his right brain. Yes. So let's take me. A lot of people will just be like, you're just so lucky. You're happy all the time. I'm lucky? I'm happy? Like, oh, yeah, you haven't lived a difficult life like me. I'm like, oh, really? Oh, okay, yeah. So I'd sit him down for a little while. I'm like, wait, what? Like, I didn't know that. So the thing about it is I've learned things. I've developed things. Oh, yeah. You hear people say, oh, I've heard of Tony Robbins. I've heard of NLP. I'm like, oh, have you gone to the seminar? No. Have you read his book? No. Have you read an NLP book? No. I wonder why one guy's getting the results and the other isn't. So a lot of people will think like, oh yeah, because I did this for about 10 to 12 years until out of desperation I had to do it. And lo and behold, it freaking worked. And I'm not even talking about this mantra, but this was the first time, because I remember in NLP, in Tony Robbins talks about it too, but they're like, it's all about self-dialogue. You got to speak positively. You've got to speak positively inside. And you got to say it the way you want it. Okay, I'm just gonna give it away. It was from the dating relationship thing. Okay, I'm gonna give away, and this really had an impact on my life. Like it shifted everything. So I had a client. We had already done, I think, 3 or 4 days of training. I said, okay, it's time to go out. Let's go to a classy club. It's a lounge, and let's actually put this into action. Learn how to talk to women, open conversations, etc., etc. So I got him into such a positive state when we walked in. Everyone was talking to him, and I was bombing. And I'm like, well, what's going on here? This was a first, and it kind of freaked me out. I was like, wait, what's going on here? Like, nobody would talk to me. Like, it was just like, it was a really weird, like, whoa, what is this? And luckily, he was so caught up in talking to women, talking to people, getting conversations going. He didn't notice that I was bombing out. So I say, hey man, I gotta go to the car and grab something. So I'll be back in about 10 minutes. He goes, oh, okay, man. And I went up the street. This was in San Francisco, and what now they call Billionaires Row. It used to be Millionaires Row. So I walked up the street 2 blocks, and I went to the right. I was just looking for a place where I could get away from people, be alone, and just kind of like do something. So there was a church. I went 2 blocks up and over, I think 2 blocks, and there was this church, and there was kind of like this it was on the corner. They had these big bushes, hedges about 8-10 feet tall, and right on the other side was kind of like this walkway with stairs going up to the next level, and there's a little platform in the middle, and there's a statue of one of the saints. I think it was Episcopalian church. And I just literally prayed, and now I've never prayed to like what do you call it? Not a savior, but what do they call those people? Like saints. I've never prayed to a saint in my life. Now I'm praying, going, oh, please, I know that I don't go to this church and blah, blah, blah. Please, if you could just help me, what do I do? What am I going to do? Blah, 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 blah. And I kind of gave up. I'm like, that's not going to work. And I just kind of got really quiet. And then something came to me. I was like, well, they tell you it's internal dialogue. And when I thought about that, I thought, oh, my internal dialogue was really negative. It's like, no one's going to talk to me here today. Like, I'm not in a good mood, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, yeah, that's real crappy dialogue. So I thought, I'm just going to do it. Now, this is going to blow you away. There was a guy that I knew he didn't have a job. His girlfriend paid all the bill. I mean, this guy, he did nothing but smoke and do drugs everywhere. Now, he was a skinny little dude, too. Wasn't a good-looking guy at all. Had never played sports, never worked out. Was just kind of a sickly kind of dude. But the funny thing is, everywhere we went, women approached him. Women talked to him. And he goes, see, I'm telling you, Mike. He goes, I don't have to do nothing. They just like me. He goes, I don't even know why. And I thought, I wonder if that's what it is. Because he said that, and there's something else he said. I'm trying to remember what it was. He goes, I think he said, they want me. He goes, I can tell. They want me. It's obvious. So I thought, well, I'm going to say that. See what happens. And so I started saying, like, they like me. I don't even know why. I can just tell. And then I was doing this over and over and over. And I remember walking back to the club, and right before I got to the club, I remember visualization. Imagine people wanting to talk to you, literally reaching out, grabbing you, and touching you, and grabbing your shirt and saying, hey. So I walk into the club, and boom, the whole energy shifted. Everyone started looking at me, and a girl literally reached out and grabbed me. And she goes, come over here, talk to me. And I'm like, I was feeling really good, by the way. And I was, no, it's cool. I'm going to go up to the bar and get something to drink. And as I walked up to the bar, it happened again and again and again. And one guy at the bar goes, man, tonight's your night. Like, I forget what you used, but like, you're the it. Like, the light's on you. So please, don't tell me that this mantra stuff, this internal dialogue doesn't work. It absolutely 100% does work. You just have to do it. The only other thing is if you're doing like and both like a very depressed state, you're not breathing fast and deep. Yeah, it's not going to work because that's what you're creating, this really shitty attitude. You've got to like snap out. If you got to breathe deep, you got to look up, say, and them both, yes and yes. And them both plus and more, yes, yes, yes. And them both plus and more, yes, yes, yes. You can even do it really quietly if people are around. but it's the intensity, it's the energy you put into it. What you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. And if you do that over and over and over, I promise you, you are going to feel a lot better. Even if you're just doing it to feel better, it'll work. So over time, I began to realize that all I have to do is really open up and be emotionally grounded and get my breathing relaxed. If I can get my belly and my gut and my lungs to relax and open up, you know how you do deep breathing for like 10, 15, 20 minutes, or you jog and exercise until like, you take that deep breath, right? That's what I'm talking about. So I realized like I don't have to do anything other than really open up, because now my brain is turned on full power, and things just begin to flow. And I notice it doesn't matter who it is. People like to be around that energy. So one thing I developed, the reason why I developed this was because of when you speak with a negative person who argues and disagrees, oh God, you get in your forehead. It puts you in a negative state of mind. And so the breathing techniques, moving your body, shaking your arms out, shaking your head out, maybe even rubbing your hair, rubbing your scalp really fast. All this does is it neurologically, physiologically opens up your nervous system instead of being stuck in this one row. Because narcissists are trying to narrow you down to this one stream of consciousness, instead of being expanded to all these different, having access to all these other nerves in your brain and in your nervous system down into your body, because that's how you access your information and your memories, etc. And that's how you begin to create flow, this whole yin and yang thing. So with this mantra, and both, plus and more, yes, 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 and both, plus and more, yes, yes, yes. The only thing you have to do with that is and both, plus and more, yes, yes, yes. And both, plus and more, yes, yes, yes. All you have to do is breathe in deep every 2 or 3 times that you say that. And then breathe out while you're saying yes, yes, yes. And both, plus and more, yes, yes, yes. Then you do it again, okay? You do this over and over and over. Neurologically, what this physiologically does is it opens up your brain from your reptilian brain to your higher left and right brain, and allows all the systems, left, right, and lower system, to be on and connected to each other. Now you have open access to any area of your brain, and this is what I call flow. And essentially that's it. Deep breathing and then doing the mantra, okay? So a couple other things I'll add is I'll shake my legs out like a boxer will. I'll shake my hands out, my arms out. I'll move my shoulders up and down, and another thing I'll do is I'll stretch lightly. See, when your muscles are tight, you're not accessing to the full neurology, all these different nerve endings, all these different connections. And what we're trying to do is expand your connection to more of your connections versus this one nerve system, let's say, okay? Versus like one line versus thousands, tens of thousands, maybe 100,000 systems. So I'll rub my hands together, I'll rub my forearms, I'll rub my belly, I'll rub my thighs, the back of my thighs, I'll rub the front of my shins, my calves, I'll squeeze my calves, I'll stretch. Physically get your body moving, rub your body. That's why when you get a massage, all of a sudden you just feel clear-headed, you feel down to earth, you can sleep well. It's because you're not narrow, you're expanded and open. I mean, look at this image. It says, we're here to witness the most amazing show on earth, the rise of consciousness once again. This is consciousness. These techniques I'm teaching you lead you up to opening up. That's all consciousness is becoming aware of new things, new tools, becoming aware of what we're doing unconsciously. And really, consciousness is just accessing all 3 of the brains at the same time, turning them all on. So another technique that I use with this, it's really the same technique. So whether it's I'm doing breathing technique or the and both, plus and more, both together, is what I'll do is sometimes you're so uptight you can't loosen up like the first time you do it. So let's say you do the mantra and the deep breathing for 5 minutes or 7 minutes. You're like, yeah, I'm not there. Well, then just give up on it for about 2 minutes or maybe 5 minutes, and then do it again. And you'll notice like, oh, okay, I'm a little bit more relaxed, because believe it or not, you did stretch it out a little bit. And then just do it again for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, and then forget about it. Maybe come back again, and then Really take a deep breath and blow it out. Okay, just really do the mantra and really do it again and feel more comfortable with it. It's the same thing with stretching. Sometimes you're so uptight, you stretch a little bit, but then you come back at it 5 minutes later, do a little bit more, and you start to loosen up a little bit more each time you do it. So the very first time you do it, maybe the first 2 times you do it, it may not get you where you want to be yet. So for the people like, oh, I did it, I tried. Like, really? Like, oh, I did it 2 times, it didn't work. Like, well, then keep doing it until it works. And that is the difference between those who do and those who don't. See, if you really want something, you do it until you get to the level that you need to be or the level that you want to be at. Period. You don't just quit because, oh, I did it twice, it didn't work. Like, that is such a cop-out. That is a very narcissistic thing. And when people start doing that to me, it's like, okay, we're done. I just fire you. I won't work with you if you're going to quit. So the purpose of this video overall is that this isn't just some really nice positive thinking. This has nothing to do with positive thinking. It has to do with learning techniques on how to access your higher consciousness, your higher intelligence, or more of your intelligence, more of your memories, and more of the information that you've learned and received and stored inside your system. That's what this is all about, is learning, well, how do I open up to that? How do I shift my state of mind to be in a better state of mind so I can get more of what I want out of life, from happiness, love, wealth, success, or just good friends. Alright, that's it for this video. Hey, if you like this video, please click subscribe, click the like button, make a comment. And if you want, there's a PayPal donation link right there in the description box. God bless you guys. I will see you in the next video. Bye.